Welcome to the programme. We begin with the unrest in Syria. US President Barack Obama has signed an executive order imposing new sanctions on the country. Well, the measures target Syria's intelligence agency and two relatives of President Bashar al-Assad. But despite growing international pressure, the bloodshed continues on the ground. At least 19 people have reportedly been killed in the flashpoint city of Daraa, among them 15 bullet-riddled corpses that arrived at a local hospital. And 4 soldiers have also been killed. In the coastal town of Latakia, reports say Syrian security forces opened fire on protesters, killing up to 5 people. Well, in the city of Homs, too, at least 12 people died, including 3 government soldiers. And in the capital, Damascus, tear gas was used to break up protesters. Well, Nabila Ramdani is a journalist and political analyst who joins me live now from London. Nabila Ramdani, let's talk first, if we can, about the UN Human Rights Council resolution that was passed today. It does seem a bit odd that the UN's human rights body is sanctioning Syria over the deadly crackdown against protesters, yet next month Syria will probably become a member of the Human Rights Council. What are we missing here?
Well, this is a sinister paradox indeed. But what's interesting is that so far we've only heard rhetoric from the international community. What is effectively happening in Syria is what we feared could happen in Benghazi. So an endless raid on Libya to prevent a potential onslaught in Benghazi has been going on for a long time now, whereas an actual massacre across Syria, and more specifically in the southern city of Daraa, is leaving the international community quite cautious about what to say and what to do. And I would argue that Daraa in particular is now going through its Benghazi moment in that respect, and it is very legitimate, therefore, to wonder why is it that a potential onslaught in Benghazi led to such a relentless air raid by the NATO coalition, while an actual massacre in Syria is leading to zero action by the international community.
So let's just talk about the situation on the ground. How decisive do you think today's protests were? Because we've seen this deadly military crackdown by the government, yet the people are still coming onto the streets right across the country.
Well, people are braver than ever. We're seeing how they now dare to express even more openly their dissent to the regime, and we're seeing their determination to see President Bashar al-Assad go. I've seen, for example, postings of film on Facebook and YouTube, for example, and the pictures are absolutely harrowing. You see pictures of women, men, and indeed children lying in pools of blood. Demonstrators are very brave indeed, as they say very openly on the internet their defiance to the regime, and they have no fear whatsoever anymore. They are determined to bring about profound democratic change to their country, and I think that's quite significant.
And we've started to see army conscripts refuse to shoot at protesters. How critical, Nabila, is this period now? Can the regime survive, or are we starting to see the beginning of the end for President al-Assad?
It is quite an interesting development indeed that now Syrian soldiers are defecting the army to try to protect civilians. But they had come themselves under fire and are being shot at by al-Assad's soldiers. We have also seen defections within the Ba'ath party, the ruling party, which has been in power since 1963. But only 500 people have defected so far. So these are significant changes, but at the same time, they are on such a minor scale that we haven't seen the end of the al-Assad's regime, particularly because his brother, for example, Maher al-Assad, is very much in charge of the 4th Division. He's effectively the commander-in-chief of the Syrian army, and very much part of the al-Assad clan in general. So this is not the end of the al-Assad regime, far from it.
Nabila Ramdani, thank you very much indeed for talking to Al Jazeera. Well, we're going to